Tad here. Good morning. How are you, sir? Well, it's great to have you, Tad. And Tess had a great idea a couple weeks ago. To kind of start a wildlife series as we get into the fall and hunting season. And just West Kentucky, we're blessed. As you and I have had this conversation before, wide open spaces, plenty of wildlife, beautiful lakes. And that's how you make your living at Tad Ladd West Kentucky Whitetails.
That's correct. Western Kentucky, the natural habitat is just absolutely phenomenal. Plenty of cover. We're an agriculture-driven area as it is, so the row crops obviously provide food. Deer, we know, is a ruminant. They live off browse and forbs, but they never pass the beans and the corn, and they're plentiful here in this area. But the cover, the natural cover of Western Kentucky, the thickness of our woods, you guys know the thickets and the fence rows and how thick they can be. I mean, they just provide the absolute natural habitat that the deer really, really enjoy.
Perfect habitat. And tell the folks a little bid about Tad Ladd West Kentucky Whitetails. It's it's been around now for several years, and it's a passion of yours. So tell us about Tad Ladd West Kentucky Whitetails.
Well, we're going into our 6th year. Timmy Bashir, Tyler Bashir, and myself kind of had the idea of I'd worked at several outfits, and we just thought we could make a go of it here in Western Kentucky. We're obviously fair chase hunters. I don't believe in hunting pinned deer. There are some. I mean, it's your God-given right to hunt however you want, but we're looking for folks who enjoy the fair chase aspect of it, and that's obviously giving the animal every opportunity to escape and evade, and trying to take our knowledge and cut those corners and have a successful hunt in that route.
Well, you've been hunting deer. You grew up here in West Kentucky. You've been hunting them a long time. Tell us your assessment overall. Of course, again, you work hard on your properties to maintain proper habitat food plots. Let's talk about just all of us out here in general and how your assessment of the overall deer herd in West Kentucky, particularly this area, is, what kind of shape it is, what the populations have been like the past several years, and that kind of thing.
Well, by no means am I an absolute authority. I can only basically tell you what I see being in and around the fields. I mean, our population has just exploded in the last 4 or 5 years. And sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing because when you have as many animals as we do, there's an opportunity for natural diseases to get into the herd a lot more easily than they would if they weren't so thick.
Well, it's a little like when our kids first go back to school, right? They're away from each other during the summer, and then they get back to school, and suddenly we've got a virus.
Yep, yeah, it's not uncommon. Blue tongue, it's not really, I guess you would say something a frequent occurrence, but it is something that seems like it rears its head around here. And in my opinion, it's basically nothing more than Mother Nature saying, I'm going to make a little correction here. And we have a documented case down in Graves County. I haven't personally seen any evidence here in Caldwell County, but I will tell you this extended dry period this time of year is very critical. I mean, deer need access to clear, clean water just like all bovines do, and they need nearly 3/4 gallon a day.
Wow.
At their body weight. So when the water gets stagnant, which our habitat is so thick, and obviously the big deer are smart, and they're evasive, and that's why you rarely see a giant buck just going up and down the road. In the summer they're a little more docile, but right now when you have this much dry extended weather and with their natural innate ability and desire to stay in the thick stuff, that water back there sometimes gets stagnant in those little holes that they frequent quite often. And I think that's where the blue tongue originates from.
Of course, mosquitoes and flies.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the midges, the flies. EHD has not been documented in Kentucky. It's all around us in just about every neighboring state, but I don't think it's been officially documented in Kentucky. But as with Mother Nature, I mean, she's always going to take care of herself. She's always going to make the corrections she needs. And, hunters really play a pivotal part, and I hate to see that in this country. Hunters being kind of attacked or gone after in a negative stance when we really hunters are probably, or without a doubt, the biggest conservationists in the country. They contribute more dollars, and it's documented, well proven, than anyone else that's out there waving a flag. And we absolutely hate to see this forward, but
Well, they appreciate it. That's something
Sure.
that, I think when you're a kid, especially when you're taught, even when the game wardens come in and they teach the kids in school, that's one of the things that they always push. And I love is conservation, because if you don't conserve what you have and you don't take care of the wildlife, they won't be there.
no.
Just forever, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why our populations have exploded here in Kentucky, is because I think that our conservation efforts here in Kentucky really are unsurpassed across the country, because I really believe that these people in our area especially really understand that, and they love what we have here and take care of it.
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, I remember when I first started hunting back in the mid 80s. Our herd was nothing near to what it is now.
Yeah.
And look what our Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife had done with the turkey. I mean, we didn't have turkey here in the mid-'80s at all. And now the turkey population is just in excellent, excellent shape. And Western Kentucky is just a beautiful, beautiful area, first of all. We try to bring folks in. I'm always approached about advertising, and we want to do as much locally as we can, but we're trying to bring folks, who have that fair chase spirit. And as you know, on our website, Ty, you and I were talking about that earlier, one of our mantras is, if you have to kill a deer to have a successful hunt, you don't need to be hunting with us, because that's the ultimate fair chase spirit. So we approach it on a regional and a national, and try to bring folks into our area, because they're going to stop and fill the tank up with gas. They're going to buy a tag. They're going to eat, somewhere right here in town before they get to us. So that's our goal with our effort at our outfit.
And you stay pretty booked up. You already got your season pretty much booked throughout the fall hunting season, pretty much, don't you? Through muzzle loading as well?
Yeah, we do. We don't take very many hunters. I mean, that's one aspect of our outfit I think is probably attractive to a lot of folks that do travel around and hunt various states. We just take a minimal amount of hunters, so we can try to keep a pressure very minimal on the deer, because we're asking our guests to take their antler tag and try to take a mature buck.
Right.
And everyone here in Western Kentucky knows, just a slang term would be let the deer walk. And when we say let them walk, we're talking about letting those 2 and 3 and sometimes even those 4-year-olds walk, so we can grow the type deer and target those type deer.
And let's talk about that. You work hard. It's a year-round operation for you.
It is.
So food plots, very important. Of course, we have farmers that do the same thing for their habitat. But tell us about nutrition and what that means to our deer herd.
Well, and just like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. I've been doing it quite a while. Our effort with the food plots is to basically provide the good nutrition during the winter months, when there's no browse on the trees at all. I mean, a deer is a browser. They'll eat corn, and we know they'll attack beans. They can be quite become a nuisance
Right.
in some aspects, as much as they go after them. But a deer is a ruminant, and forbs and browse are the primary thing. But here in February and March, when there's nothing on the trees, there's no green anywhere in the woods, that's where we believe our plots play a very pivotal role in providing that nutrition to keep those deer thriving.
Well, and sometimes it's just as exciting to sit in the tree stand, and half of it is experience, or to sit in the tree stand and I remember times when I didn't get anything when I was a kid. You'd be disappointed by the time you got home, but man, how much fun did you have? Because you never knew. You could hear the rustling in the leaves. You never knew. And when you talk about the thrill of the hunt, and that sort of thing, that's to me 75% of it right there.
It is, and I mean, in the heat of the moment, everybody, including myself, we're all out there looking for that big buck, that giant mature buck. But as you get older and experience, I mean, I replay hunts in my head all the time now. I'm 48 years old, and I think back to some of those first hunts, and I have just as much enjoyment sitting down thinking about that hunt as I do in the stand myself. So.
I told him, I said, I've looked at your website and some of the pictures of the deer. I said, I think I'd pass out before I got a good shot off, because if that was staring at me, I'd be so amazed,
We've been very fortunate. We work awfully hard, but I mean, a lot of it, the good Lord himself provides, and these animals grow. All we really need to do is get out of their way and let them get to that age.
An interesting concept that you all have out at Tadlad West Kentucky Whitetails is the concept of a hunting community. Mm-hmm. And you've heard about these for a few years now. They crop up, and you see them in rural areas more and more. But tell us a little bit about this concept. It's a pretty interesting concept of a hunting community.
Yeah, I mean, the whole emphasis beside that was we wanted to start to develop properties for hunting only. And it's not that easy to find, a large contiguous tract. And what we basically wanted to do was to take that tract, put in our plots using our method that we do in our outfit, and basically subdivide that acreage to give, even folks on a smaller budget the opportunity to own some acreage in there and, be hunting quality deer. And all we're asking of these folks, this first one is called the Fox Road Community. Mm-hmm. It's actually just north of us in Hopkins County, over in the Alney area. But, we said, look, you can hunt any way you want, but if you want to be part of this community, we want you to take your antlered tag and use it only on what we deem to be a mature buck. And these guys are sharing trail camera pictures together, identifying and red flagging deer that they deem are 2 to 3 years old that they would like to see grow, And obviously part of the conservation effort in there is taking does as well. So, it's just kind of a new way to hunt, but we're just wanting, people who want to target a mature buck.
And
that's responsible.
Yeah.
I love that. I like that there is a replenishment thought to it, and there is a conservation thought to it, and it's thoughtful hunting. It's thought out, and I love that. I think that's kudos.
And a lot of communication between those hunters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's another thing to go along with hunting as well. I mean, I can remember, deer camp is always something, memories that hunters cherish forever. And they just seem to be going by the wayside. There's so many things anymore to occupy our kids. I mean, in all honesty, I just can't imagine being a child having to grow up in this age with this many distractions and this many things to take away from, what we did as kids, jumping on a bike in the afternoon and riding to the creek and fishing. And those things just don't happen a lot anymore. So,
and you talked about the different wildlife that come with the deer. Mm-hmm. I'm sure on those trail cams you're talking about, there's tons more wildlife, not just the deer.
Oh yeah, I mean, turkey, the bobcat population is really increased. That goes along, I think, primarily with the way the turkeys have improved, the numbers of the turkeys. But yeah, there's a bobcat season in Kentucky, and our county has quite a few bobcats.
Yeah, I've heard that population is really thriving. I've seen a few in the wild myself.
Yep.
In the outdoors. What about the rumors of other types of cats that you hear out there?
I wasn't going to bring that up.
No,
I was going to leave it alone.
And black bear. No, I got to ask. And black bears. I mean, apparently, there was one in Clarksville, or and then maybe one in Muhlenberg County. Anything on your trail cams that isn't supposed to be here? A Sasquatch, maybe?
I wish I could sit here and tell you truthfully that we did. But we don't, and all my life and all your life and all of our lives, everyone, I seen this cat there, and now I'm not denying it. But as many trail cameras as there are in the woods in this county, you would think we would have a good image of, one or two or maybe more. The habitat is here for a larger cat. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. In the North County, where we're at especially, the bluffs, the rocks, the terrain is rugged,
That's
hilly.
where I live.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not denying that the habitat is not ideal, but as far as me laying eyes on one, no, I never have.
Yeah.
Seen a big bobcat.
Yeah.
But no panthers or cougars or anything like that.
And in the spring, of course, not only the fall, then you all have you turn to the turkey.
Yep.
And you mentioned earlier, Tad, those populations when we were growing up and in high school, unheard of.
Yeah, non-existent, really.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance. And then the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, they start putting a few populations out, and the next thing you know, the habitat's there, the management's been there, and then just an explosion of turkeys.
Kind of like the buffet keeps moving around, and well, I mean, really and truly, we're going to go where the food is. We've got to eat.
Yep.
So if the food is there, and if you're a predator, when you're looking at the turkey and the small game as your buffet, the more there are, that's where you're going to go, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's just the cycle of life. George Wright back in the day, late George Wright, just so instrumental in getting the turkeys established here in Western Kentucky, and if he could see the fruits of his labor, he would have to be happy.
I haven't heard that name in a while, but definitely pioneering
yes,
the turkey population around in this area.
You better believe it. Yeah, he's hunted them all over the world, I guess, probably. But his efforts to get them here in our area were very instrumental. Now, what he's established and with the conjunction with Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, our turkey population is phenomenal. I
gotta ask, what are you seeing more interest in? Is it normally the muzzle loader, the rifle, or maybe the bow? What is the most that more people want to go out with?
Well, here it's always the rifle. It used to be, and that's just another thing. I guess it's a convenience of modern technology to be able to check your deer via your cell phone, but there's also a certain element to that, the old check stations, where everyone used
to. We were talking about that.
All the general stores in the county, that were check stations, and I really miss those days where, just driving to some folks who didn't even hunt, just loved to drive down and watch and see the animals brought in.
My daughter got her first, and she was so disappointed that we checked it on the phone. She was like, but can't we go, why? And it was, hey, when I killed my first one, I could not wait to get to Farmersville store. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Because that's where everybody was going to be.
Yep.
And I wanted to show it off. It was a nice buck, and I wanted to show it off. And that's exactly what I got to do. And I agree. I think that they miss out on a little bit of that.
I'll never forget my first experience wanting to hunt deer. I'd moved here from Florida, of all places, not known for deer, especially back in the early 80s.
No.
Drove 109 from Dawson Springs, opening day of deer season, okay? For 109 from Dawson Springs all the way to Christian County, all the way to Hopkinsville, through the Pennyrile Forest.
I'm going to guess you saw one or two.
My goodness, to see that was my first impression of Kentucky deer season. I was ready to roll.
Still here.
Orange everywhere too.
Orange, and it was time to go get a 30-30.
Now we know why he stayed, Tad.
But Tad,
Can't blame him.
You mentioned it though. There's nothing a bonding experience for a family or a father and a son, or even a mother and a daughter, or a mother and a son sitting around that deer campfire in the evenings. Whether you've been successful or not.
Yep.
I think you hit the nail on the head. There are certain, and there may be somebody listening that has never hunted before, but there's an experience out there that you can have at a deer camp or share those memories. But I mean, I would cherish those memories of me and my papaw.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's hunting squirrel or deer, or sitting around with family members around that's just special, man.
It is very, very special, and it seems to be just something else that we're slowly losing or letting slip away. And I know there's still people who camp, and enjoy that, but the way, I guess, the magnitude or the emphasis that we put on it back then is not what it is now.
Right.
And we're trying to do that with this hunt community. I mean, we're bringing, obviously, folks, our purchasers are from all over the Southeast, and we're introducing different people to different people, so.
Yeah, that's nice, and it becomes a true community based around hunting, but can they put a little cabin or something on each of their land plots, or is there one community cabin somewhere? How's that concept work?
Well, the process, or the way we looked at it and laid it out, was we took, on this particular property, took a small piece on the far western edge and developed 10 acres, and they have opportunity to build a small cabin, park an RV, and we're going to provide a skinning shed there. So,
wow.
Folks can actually come together and try to promote that camaraderie.
Well, now I know where I want to go.
that is fantastic. And if we're listening out there and we say that's something I'm interested in, how do we find out more about it?
Well, absolutely. You can jump on my website, tadladd.com. All my contact info is on there. My cell phone number is readily available on there. Email, pretty descriptive in detail, I think, anyway, on our site about exactly what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do over there. Like I said, we're subdividing these tracts. You can purchase as many acres as you want.
Right.
But our goal was to say, if you can only afford 50 acres, but this is how you want to hunt, we're going to do everything we can to make that fit your budget. And all we're asking is that you follow the rules, that everyone else is going to follow. Yep.
I love when, you talk about the memories that you have. My kids have got memories of hunting and that sort. And if you ask them, hey, what was your first experience? My son has a story about fried chicken and his grandpa.
Yeah.
His grandpa was eating some fried chicken and missed the buck. It's coming. CJ saw it and he's like, Papa, and Papa's like, wait a minute, I'm eating my chicken. And it was a whole story that he will never forget. That is something that when he is 80 years old, he will tell his kids about. What is a story that you yourself have that you'll never forget? Because everybody's got one. Everybody
does have one. I mean, one story I play out in my mind. I lived in Illinois for a few years when I was working air traffic.
Yeah.
And I shot instinct. That's something that you can get away with more with a recurve than you can a compound. But I shot instinct. That means with no sights. Mm-hmm. And I was successful until I drew back on a true mature trophy deer. And that was, we all score deer by the inch format. And this deer, anyway, he was a mainframe, a 10-pointer with 2 drop tines. And it was just an incredible buck at 25 yards. And this isn't a campfire or anything else story, but I shot right over that deer. Long story short, I went the next day and bought sights, and I've had sights on my bow. I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
The one that got away.
The one that got away, yeah.
I love that, though, because that's something I guarantee you'll never forget.
Oh, no. I never. I replay the hunt. As a hunter, you couldn't ask for a better wind condition. He was actually chasing a doe. It was rut. The doe run 20 yards behind me. Never knew I was there. He stopped out there 25 yards, and he actually even turned just a bit to offer me a straight broadside
so you had a
shot.
broadside view there.
And I just totally blew it. I could not take my eyes off of his antlers instead of concentrating on his vitals as I drew back.
Did he laugh a little when he walked away?
No, he didn't hang around very long.
I know somebody that had a few tears maybe walking out of the woods.
It was a tough day. But I'll never forget it. I remember how the doe approached. I remember how he was right behind her. I can still feel the coolness of that morning. It was a good cool morning, about 33 degrees. I can still see the dew dripping off the leaves all around.
I'm getting chill bumps because
I'm
that's just an amazing experience.
It would have been a lot better if I had a picture of it.
Yeah. Well, I think we all have them like that, and that's a great. And Tad, when was it? You said you've been hunting since the mid '80s. You and I, we went to high school together. You're a little bit younger than me, not much, but. When did you get the bug? Of course, West Kentucky, we grow up hunting. We grow up, out in the woods, like I said, riding a bike to a creek fishing. But when did you know, man, this is something that's within me?
Yeah, I don't know. That desire has always been there, obviously, to hunt. But my military, I'll just be honest with you. When you meet people in the military, you're into that situation, you become friends real fast. What you do more than anything is you find common ground. Mm-hmm. You may not become friends, but you find something in common with whoever you're assigned with, whoever you're roomed with, the unit that you're with. So the common ground for me in just about all those situations, I always went back to hunting. Yeah. Because it's just like we say, at our age, people that I would meet from Arkansas, Georgia, wherever, we all had a story about hunting and deer camp and a campfire. Mm-hmm. So.
Sort of made that connection. It stuck with you ever since.
It did. And I really, and listening to their stories and our stories, I realized how fortunate we were to be right here in the middle of just deer hunting haven. Kentucky's, it's not really a secret anymore. There's a lot of folks that want to come to Western Kentucky and hunt.
Yeah.
And so just, that desire of wanting to share that with other folks and let them experience it.
Well, how can we get in touch with you and here in West Kentucky for a good fair chase hunt?
TADLADD.com, tadlad.com, pretty easy to remember, and all of our contact info is on there, and I'll be happy to talk anytime, take any questions about anything that I might be able to help you with.
What if you're maybe your child is young, and how do you suggest that they introduce them to? Is there a first time? Let's just go take them camping and see how that goes first. And I mean, how would you suggest that they get into that?
See, that's to me that it all starts with us. Of course, I watch my uncles hunt, my older cousins. Everyone in my family was pretty much a hunter. And I really don't, know what the solid answer is to that without being political. But you guys know as well as I do, it's a hot button issue these days, just the essential fact of owning a firearm. But we were taught responsibly. Our uncles, our fathers, our grandfathers typically started us all out with a .22 rifle. Yep. And told us what happens. There's a consequence when you pull that trigger. And I think all the guys that I've hunted with and all my life always knew that there's a consequence, and taking an animal's life is not something to be taken lightly. But I believe God put us here for not only to look after them, but for them to be provision for us as well. So doing it in a responsible manner, however we can do that. Maybe getting back into the schools, starting with BB guns, but just, always emphasizing that there is a consequence when you squeeze that trigger.
Well, there is a breakfast coming up this weekend. We do want to remind everybody about that. That's a great way to get kids involved and get them started responsibly and to teach them. Of course, that's a Caldwell County 4-H Sharpshooters Country Ham Breakfast, and that'll be this Saturday from 7 to 10:30 a.m. at the Caldwell County Extension Service. It's, of course, the meals donation only. Everybody's invited, so you can't beat that.
Nope.
And these kids are really taught a lot, and God bless them for doing so, because we really appreciate it.
God bless those that take the time and the initiative to go out and do those things.
That's exactly right.
Thank you so much for being here and
You're
being
welcome.
a part of the series that we're doing. We really do appreciate
It
that.
was a pleasure.
We've enjoyed it.
Tad Ladd of Tad Ladd West Kentucky Whitetails. Again, go to TADLADD.com for more information about what Tad does at Tad Ladd West Kentucky Whitetails. Thank you, sir.
You bet, bud.
Hey, it's 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Yeah, buddy.
Why Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Well, it's going to be hot today. You just can't get around that. Hot, hot, hot. A high of 94 is going to be the temperature. However, it's going to feel a whole lot more like 100 with the heat index way up there today. Partly cloudy tonight. Overnight low is 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high near 92. And then on volleyball Thursday, sunshine with a high of 92. It is 69 at 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Brantley Furniture.
First Southern National Bank's Southern roots run deep. Founded in a small Kentucky town, First Southern has always used their example, influence, and resources to help others make wise financial decisions. They know you want to be in charge of your money and to feel valued by your bank. At First Southern Bank, you're more than a number, which is why they've provided personalized service to their customers for more than 35 years. Visit fsnb.net to learn more. Member FDIC.
Imagine this. It's late at night, it's cold and dark, and you have a flat tire. One never knows when old Betsy's gonna cause you problems. There's only one place to call, Wallace Towing and Recovery in Princeton. Wallace Towing and Recovery is a 24/7 towing and recovery service. You can count on Wallace Towing and Recovery to get you safe and back on the road or to a repair shop. Wallace Towing and Recovery will jumpstart your vehicle, change a tire, deliver gas, unlock a door, or haul it to the garage or scrapyard. Wallace Towing and Recovery has you covered in Princeton and surrounding areas. Call Wallace Towing and Recovery. Check them out on Facebook, and when you need a tow or roadside help, call Wallace Towing and Recovery at 270-963-9081.
1580, 103.3 WPKY. Tess and Ty at 8:59. And don't forget, we've got a lot of sports activities and that sort of thing going on today that you need
Soccer
to
Tuesday.
think about them a little bit today. Make sure you take an extra water ball with you. Of course, it's a water bottle.
Did you say water ball?
I'm pretty sure I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, it's almost over. I got half the word. Does that count for anything?
Hey, speaking of that, wait a
Instead
second.
of $1, I got 50 cents. What about that?
Before we plug all this good stuff coming up, we've got to decide, and we'll have to think about this the remainder of the week, when the Pink Tutu and the roller skates are coming out.
You know, I'd gone on to another track. Don't you laugh at that, Heather. Heather Riley is in the building, and she's laughing, and that's not fair. I still say he cheated, and I see some people online on social media that agree with me, by the way.
I don't see that. And
No.
people-
The public opinion is that you cheated. That's public opinion. Hey, it's not me. It's public opinion.
Okay.
I'm just saying. A jury of your peers say that you cheated.
Okay. I have not known.
Of course, there was only one person that said that, but
I told you I'm going to compromise because of that one person think that, and I will wear the tutu if you wear the roller skates.
I will do
so
that.
we'll be even.
I will do it. I'll wear roller skates and a tutu. I don't care.
Tell them about the
Once
sports
you
cat.
fell off a bull, I mean, is there? Yeah, I have no pride left. I mean,
right.
what WPKY Soccer Tuesday, of course, broadcast time at 6:15. That soccer game will start at about 6:30, so our broadcast is going to start about 15 minutes before that. Now, that is the Caldwell County Lady Tigers soccer versus University Heights here at home. The boys soccer is going to be traveling to Fort Campbell about 5:30, so good luck to them. The Lady Tiger volleyball team is going to be at Paducah Tillman tonight at 7 o'clock, and then, of course, the Caldwell County Middle School undefeated football team heads to McCracken County to lay it on them this afternoon at 5:30. So, hey,
Big sports
everybody
day.
be safe. It's a big sports day. A lot of people on the road. Tune into WPKY for any kind of updates. Of course, our high school football team practice has been delayed till 6 p.m. tonight
right.
for the heat. And be aware of all the road construction and that sort of thing today as paving continues. And give them a little bit of extra room this morning.
Yeah, especially in that Rose Avenue area of Princeton. I think they're going to be up that way. So if you normally park on the street, please have your vehicle moved so that the paving crews can get through there and get their work done.
Hey, it's 1580 103.3 WPKY Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. In North Carolina, a redo more than 10 months after midterms. Democrat Dan McCready, who's just cast his vote, going up against Republican Dan Bishop in the special election for a House seat. Last night, President Trump rallying voters in Fayetteville to vote Republican, saying a vote for any Democrat
is a vote for the rise of radical socialism and the destruction of the American dream.
However, a new poll out this morning from ABC News and the Washington Post shows that the president has some convincing to do, that he is steering the economy in the right direction.
Fox's Blake Berman. 26 candidates are running to fill the House seat of the late Walter Jones. And in Georgia, a truck carrying some 10,000 pounds of dynamite overturning in Dawson County on Highway 53, which is closed, traffic being rerouted. America is listening to Fox News.
Sunny and hot today, a high near 94. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 71. Tomorrow, sunshine, a high near 93 with clearing skies. Tomorrow night, a low down to 70. Thursday looks great, sunny again and hot, a high near 93. And again, for today, you can expect sunny skies. Watch the heat index values. Could see 100 today. Under sunny skies, a high of 94.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Kentucky Home Realty.
My name is Brandon. I am a manager of tire sales at Firestone Complete Auto Care. When you come here to get service, we're going to take care of your car. Because you take care of your car is going to take care of you.
Come in for the Firestone Complete Auto Care